show. Always Irish show. Always Irish show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. I want to do a couple things today. One is I feel obligated to open the phone lines up if anybody wants to call and just give their thoughts about Michigan winning the championship. This is the first show we're having since that has happened. And I wanted to give you guys a chance. I'm not making the whole offseason about Michigan. I'm sick of this story and dealing with it and everything. And I realize I'm like, some people think I'm over the top with it. It's just how I feel. Sorry. But I wanted to give everybody a chance. The Ohio State people that watch, call me. The Notre Dame people that watch, call me. If you want to just get out your final thought on the Michigan winning it all thing, and then we could turn the page and move on and start talking about Notre Dame. I'm not going to, I can't make the whole offseason me being mad and miserable Michigan won. I'm going to make myself more upset. But this is the first live show after that has taken place. So I'm not trying to give Michigan more fodder to make fun of me and Notre Dame people and clip me and then run it on their Twitter. I'm not trying to do that. But I got to at least give you guys one window here on the first show after they win to get your final thought out on it. Whether you just can't handle it at all and reconcile it in your brain like me, or if you're going, whatever, it ain't that big a deal. It shows you can win a title without top five recruiting and the best quarterback, and they're showing that we can win it. And that's a roadmap for Notre Dame. If you're able to find a corollary there between what they did and how they built it, and then us as a roadmap, wherever you're at with it, I feel obligated to give you that platform. So if you want to give any opinions on how that all makes you think and feel or whatever, we could do that. If you prefer to not do that and focus on Notre Dame, God bless you. I wish I could do that. I'm not perfect at this. I'm a person that holds grudges. I hold grudges. And the Michigan thing has just been one of those things for as long as I can possibly remember. And it doesn't matter if my brain says, move on, grow up. It's about Notre Dame, not what anybody else does. Turn the page, John. Logically, I can say that. Mentally and just emotionally, it's just rough. And I get some people, I've already seen the comments of, you need to move on. You need to get over it. Nobody likes a crybaby. All of that stuff. I see those in my comments. And it's like, you need to move on and get over it. All that. I understand that. And I will. Give me a couple days. It's the worst case scenario of any end to a football season for me. Can I have 2 days? I'm not going to make this a thing forever. It'll melt my brain. Can I have 2 days? So wherever you want to bring it, and I already see a bunch of callers already. So whether you want to talk about Notre Dame and where we need to go, what comes next, I do have some bullet points on that, by the way. Here's one thing I'm starting to think. One thing I'm starting to think is trying to make this Michigan thing kind of come home. Turn the corner, turn third base, and bring it home. It should just piss everybody off to want to win even more. I don't know what else to say. Something about them winning and it not being a team that wins every year. Georgia again, Alabama again, whatever, even Clemson, whatever. For some reason, it being them and like a newer team to get to experience that joy, that is why I do the show, is to chase that joy those people had. The one that got me was them zooming in on the crowd and seeing people crying. That got me. That was it. Turned off the TV because that's the goal of all this. That's why I do all this. Is for us to have that moment and to see that group of people, to have that group of people experience that joy. I just can't make it make sense. That's where seeing those people be so happy. Oh my God. I don't know, man. And I did watch the whole thing on, I did. Jack Weiss. This is the problem. Want to lose listeners? Keep up this childish nonsense. Just leave. You think I care? Just leave. Also, number one is just leave. Number two is, again, a guy can't get 2 days to process through something that is traumatic. I can't have 2 days on my own show where I'm the only guy producing it, like coming up with what we're talking. I can't have 2 days and give some of you guys the phone lines to be able to hear what you think about this. I don't understand. And I got news for you, Jack. Discussing things like this that are not just X's and O's and boring and all that, that's how I got 10,000 plus subscribers. I got news for you, Jack. That's how I acquired this following, is by talking about all this kind of stuff and how it makes you think and feel. That's a feature, not a bug. But if you don't like it, just leave. It's not that hard. All right. We do have couple super chats, and then I'll give it to the callers here. We got a few early in the morning. Couple people need to check in that haven't been here since the holidays. It'll be interesting to see what they have to say. $2 holler from the Homer TD. Happy birthday, head coach Marcus Freeman and his daughter Sienna. There you go. Some good off-season action for you on the birthday. Good to see you, Homer. $5 holler from V1. What can we do? Michigan, hands down, was the best team. They beat OSU, the best team, the Big 12 and the SEC. They certainly did. They certainly did. Whatever you want to say about them, man, they earned that. Like at the end of the year, I'm not saying they didn't play terrific football and deserve to win those games. I'm not saying that at all. And I do understand that people are saying, John, that should be kind of Notre Dame's formula, mostly a power run game, and then play your really good defense. So I understand that. All right, let me get through my introduction so I could give it to the callers here. Again, I knew some of this was going to happen. Some of it meaning everybody processes frustrations differently. Everybody does. I like to talk it out. That's healthy for me to talk things out. And I get that there's some people that are like so mad about the Michigan, they just want to keep it moving and not even act like it happened and then just move on. I get that. So everybody's different. You can handle it however you want, or maybe you just don't care that it's Michigan. It doesn't move the needle for you at all. It moves the needle for me right into the ground or into my head. But it's just like, give me a break, man. All right. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on that way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter. Search bar Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Geek. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you could get it. If you don't want to look at my face, I don't blame you. Call in line. We already did. I think I already went over it. 312-900-8815. You call Johnny and you tell him all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Fighting Irish Wire. Read all about it. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. Former captain and myself, Mike Goolsby. You can't beat it. Behind the paywall. What could go wrong? And of course, go get yourself some winter gear over at the NDSubwayAlumni.com website. I love a website dedicated to Subway alums. Very specific cause. There's a lot of Notre Dame gear, a lot of Notre Dame stuff. There's a lot of it. Go here. Get something for from the fellow Subway alum folks. Really good group of people. Check out the website. Check it out. Pat, what do you got to say? I'm surprised there aren't Michigan fans trolling. They're all probably driving back to Chicago for work and going to tell everybody how great Michigan is, but they can't find jobs in Detroit to keep them there. Yeah. I have not. Well, I've dialed back Twitter a little bit. I'm not there for the victory parade lap on Twitter for Michigan people. I'm not there for that. But I haven't seen they have not been coming to me that much. And you know why? I don't think we've gotten that far yet. I think they're all probably hammered and wasted celebrating. I don't even think they've come down from that. Then they'll probably start trolling. I think they're in a 2.5 days or whatever. I know I would be. Oh, man. But listen. I totally understand that this discussion, some people just aren't willing to have it. But I think it's an important one to have when you have a conflict like this. And I admit I'm struggling with it. I admit it's immature. I admit it didn't get to me to the amount that it did. I admit all of that. But it's still where I'm coming from. I'm always going to be real with you guys. I totally know my Michigan thing is petty and immature, and I should grow up and worry about Notre Dame and not them. I totally understand and accept all of those things, but it ain't my reality. It's just not. And you can't just turn a switch. There's no switch I could turn into off when these are the number one people I hate every year, all year, every day of my life for 25 years. And then this happens. There is no just off switch. Like, no, that's not a thing. So give me a break, man. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch today. Wait till Friday and then we'll have a different topic. I don't care. I need to get this out. 224. He's back from Europe. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, John? How are you?
Good. Did you have a good trip, man? That's a big trip over there. Did you have fun?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. For anybody who has not been to Italy, I highly recommend it. It's awesome, man.
Well, good for you, man. You deserve to get away and be able to just kind of change the scenery a little bit. That's good for everybody. Andrew, a lot has happened in Notre Dame land since we last talked. Fill me in on where you're at with anything. I don't even think we talked about Denbrock. It was the holidays. I was in Florida. You were gone. Like, we're going back a way. So you could take it whatever you want to cover. And then I got 937-618-574. You three are coming up next. Where do you want to go?
Well, it's funny. Pat Carter actually trolled me pretty hard about me being critical of Freeman for hiring like ex-Cincinnati guys, but he definitely got me there, because this is Denbrock was one ex-Cincinnati guy that I certainly have no problem with. It's amazing how fortunate this offseason has turned out, and so I'm really bullish for 2024. But hey, I did want to start with like what you started to talk about. I think it's weird. Like, so in November after the Stanford game, I paid Notre Dame fans like a huge compliment in that we are the nicest fan base when you compare us to, say, like Southern schools and even Big Ten schools. Like when people were mad at Parker, people weren't even calling to fire Parker. They were calling to demote him. Like, no other fan base would do that.
Yeah.
But I do have to criticize our fan base, which is like, you see people in the chat are like, get over it. Let's not talk about other teams. Let's focus on Notre Dame. And it's like, that is one negative I would say about Notre Dame fans, especially when I'm on like the message boards, is that they're too myopic about Notre Dame. Like, if you really care about Notre Dame winning a national championship, you have to like follow college football and be well-rounded. And you have to have like tough discussions about Notre Dame, or else you'll never really be informed enough if Notre Dame's making the right adjustment. So it's important to have discussions about Michigan, especially seeing that Michigan is built so similarly to Notre Dame. So you got to analyze why they won. And I see the silver lining here that a team like Michigan would never have won a championship even 5 years ago, when Trevor Lawrence and that Alabama wide receiver room was running wild. I think that, weirdly, I thought when we went to the NIL era, I thought Notre Dame for sure would be left behind, because Notre Dame's history over the last 30 years since I've been a fan has been that they need something bad to happen to them before they adapt. The Bob Davie era, the Tyrone Willingham era, the Charlie White era. It's like stuff had to happen bad before they adapted. But shockingly, Notre Dame has adapted. I mean, they are clearly, their NIL game is working pretty good. Plus, because players are too impatient to sit behind and be backups, Alabama's not just hoarding all the great players. There's a real market now, and it's creating real parity. And so I think this is good news.
Yeah, I'm Andrew. I'm hoping I come around to that. Like, when my initial kind of frustration with it died down, I'm hoping I'll come around to that angle of it. And then I do have a theory, and I'll throw this at you about the first point you made. See if you think I'm onto something or not. I think Notre Dame fans, there's a large percentage of them, and even I include myself in this sometimes, where you're so Notre Dame focused. I think us not being in a conference has a lot to do with that. The Notre Dame fans, there's a big portion of them that are all Notre Dame and not much else around the country. I think if we were in a conference, that would be looked at differently. I think that has something to do with a lot of our people just worrying about Notre Dame. I'm just going to watch Notre Dame, and then like whatever else goes on. I've always thought that's a part of why so many of our fans don't watch a lot of other football or whatever. I know a lot of people that just watch Notre Dame and nothing else. And I think not having a conference where you're intimately interested in the outcome of every other game within it, I think that has something to do with it. And Manny here's pushing back on you, saying, so focus on other teams that have nothing to do with winning a title. Gotcha, thanks. I would argue, and I'm sure Andrew would argue, you got to know what the competition's up to and how they're doing it and what the trends are, what's working, what isn't, who's doing what. Like, you have a responsibility to pay attention to what's going on around you. Like, that's not wild to me. That's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just think that sometimes, I think the biggest problem with Notre Dame's admin and then, supportive fans has been that they don't want to embrace change, and that, they wish things were what they were years ago. And the problem with college football is that even though it seemed like for years things weren't changing, it was. And now we're in a period over the last 5 years where we've seen extreme changes where literally conferences are going away. You have expansion of playoffs. And you can see right now, you see the teams that aren't adjusting to that. They're falling behind, teams like, Dabo Swinney and Clemson. And the teams that are embracing the changes are going ahead, like Texas and Washington and Michigan to a certain extent. So that's why I watch college football. I mean, obviously I'm Notre Dame first, but, I'm a fan of college football. I want to embrace change and so on. But the last thing I wanted to mention to you on the call is that, and I put this in the chat, but I'd love to hear your opinion on this, is if anybody's mad about Michigan winning, the person they really should be pissed off at is Urban Meyer. And the reason for that is Urban Meyer lived rent-free in Jim Harbaugh's head.
Yep.
He dominated Jim Harbaugh to such an extent that Jim Harbaugh had basically run the same system at University of San Diego, to Stanford, to the 49ers, and then at the beginning of his tenure at Michigan, that was this smash mouth, pro-style type football. Urban Meyer ran him off the field a couple times, and Jim Harbaugh didn't know what to do. He went out and got that guy Shea Patterson. He tried to run a spread offense, and then Michigan went into, a downward spiral. And it's my opinion that if Urban Meyer wasn't such a slime ball, which is hard for me to say because I actually have met Urban Meyer and he's done some very nice stuff for a close family friend of mine. But the fact of the matter is he's a slime ball. If he wasn't such a slime ball, he'd probably still be at Ohio State because he's he's only 60 years old. He's got some football left in him.
Yeah. And
he had a lot of unfinished business. He only won one national title with some of those loaded teams at Ohio State. He's the reason. I actually think that if Urban Meyer had stayed at Ohio State, would Jim Harbaugh even still be Michigan's coach? I think maybe not. And I think that was the greatest gift that ever happened in Michigan is him sort of stepping away because of that controversy of the wide receivers coach.
And you know what else, Andrew?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know how else to say this. Urban Meyer is an alpha. He's a killer alpha. Like Urban Meyer walks in the room and that's the dude. Like he has that presence. He is the alpha dog and everybody knows it. You can't force that to be what you are. You either are it or you aren't it. I don't think Ryan Day has that edge to him. He wants to have that edge. He wants to purport that he has that edge. He's never going to have that Urban thing. And they have not had the same edge since he left. They just haven't.
Yeah. And sadly, I think it's even more than that. Like he has stupidly, Ryan Day, instead of saying, hey, we're going to continue to play Ohio State football and just out-athlete you and blow you out, he has stupidly let Jim Harbaugh live rent-free in his head. And so now even though he's the one who can land all the 5 stars and have all the talent, he's trying to turn his team into some version of Michigan. It's ridiculous. He should have stuck to, he lost a tough game, 3 years ago. It was a bit of a shootout. He lost at Michigan. And he decided to blow everything up and try to be like a smash mouth football team kind of to a certain extent. I mean, I know they still throw the ball all the time, but you get what I'm saying. He tried to change the identity of his team, and it was all way overreactionary. And so, and I think you got to give kudos to Jim Harbaugh. It's like, he's a total cheater. There's no doubt about it, but that dude knows how to develop talent. He's not signing, top 5 classes. He's signing top 20, top 15-ish classes, and he's developing them. And so I think, but where I do see another silver lining is, Freeman. A lot of people are critical of Freeman, thinking, he's a defensive guy, and a lot of defensive coaches want to come in and immediately play smash mouth football, control the ball, and stuff like that. And that was sort of annoying, especially in this the last 10 years of college football era, because a lot of the teams that won were running these amazing spread offenses. But I think you can see a trend in the last 3 or 4 years that people are going away from that, that spread offense, because and largely based off of rule changes and stuff like that. And they're going back to control the line of scrimmage, smash mouth football. And you see, like, Georgia won 2 championships that way. You have Michigan winning a championship. Alabama pivoted, and they're back to doing that right now. The outliers might be Texas and Washington, but I look at Washington and think that's not sustainable. I mean, you're not going to have Michael Penix every year. Good luck with Will Rogers. Maybe Texas can do it because Sark is recruiting great athletes, but look at what Sark's doing. He's also building a huge defensive line. Like, they're paying guys 5 stars to get to play on the D line. So I think maybe Freeman's philosophy is in the right. He has the right philosophy right now. He finally has the right coordinators. I'm bullish, and I think that Michigan winning it all means that Notre Dame's got a shot.
Yeah, I may be able to get there eventually. I'm just doing my working through it right now. But Andrew, the biggest thing to me is I was fearful that allegiance to Parker would be like an anchor that weighs down all the other good stuff going on and how good the defense could be next year and everything. I was worried that offense was going to weigh us down. To be able to flip that into something that instills confidence and trust already, that's a big deal to me, man. You took my biggest number one question mark and made it a plus. That is really good. That is good work. That was my number one big picture worry for like next year, that offense in big moments would weigh us. And they flipped that to where now at a minimum, I have confidence you're going to have a professional plan and a guy that's working ahead. And like, that is huge. It's huge. Good job, Notre Dame.
So John, just one thing, and for what it's worth, I mean, I do business with different people, and I was in South Bend not that long ago, and the guy I do business with is a booster for Notre Dame, and he's pretty plugged in. And he was talking about how cutthroat college football is, and because like I was talking to him, I'm like, why does Freeman just always seem to want to pick these people that like he used to work with and stuff? Like, Notre Dame should really encourage him to go out and get just the best coordinator. And he talked about it. He said it's real. He said that, like, these college coaches are really, they are always looking over their back. They think that, and I think it's a snake business where people try to snake you for your job. You're always worried about that. And so I think how fortunate was Freeman that he not only was able to replace Parker, but he didn't have to do it with someone he didn't know. Like, he was able to go out and get a guy like Denbrock, who he knows. And then that guy really, at his stage in his career, he's not looking to be the head coach at Notre Dame.
That's
key. So I think that was sort of the best case scenario.
That's what I love, Andrew, the balance. You have 2 old heads on each side of the ball that have low ego. They're not looking to Notre Dame as a stepping stone or whatever and all that. They're there to do their part, support Freeman. It's the balance I think we've been looking for. Really, really good job. There's a lot to be encouraged about. Andrew, really nice touching base with you, man. I'm glad you had a good trip.
Hey, thanks. Just last thing. Do we know if Al Golden has signed his deal? C. Jones in the chat made a good point. Like, we got to make sure that Al Golden, unlike Mike Denbrock and LSU, we need to make sure Al Golden signed his deal, because Alabama's defensive coordinator just announced he's retiring. So
I don't think he did. I don't think he signed it, but I'm right there with you, because I've seen Notre Dame people be like, oh, it's in the works, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, 3 weeks ago, that's what LSU thought about Denbrock. And it was like, exactly. Oh, it was in the works. All right. Our works, not their works. Like, yeah. So you got to get that done. But as we sit right now, it's the kind of support that I think a younger coach needs. And that gives me some comfort and some hope here. And that's trending in the right direction. Also, that 25 class is looking good already, man. I like where that's trending. And there's a lot more to come with that. I'm hearing there's like a handful of guys that are silent and they're going to commit to Notre Dame. Like, they're getting way ahead on that class. And so
it's D-line heavy. It's D-line heavy, which is really important, because, I mean, we're not going to win anything if we can't control the trenches.
Yeah,
so.
You're right. So There's some good stuff going on there. So thank you very much, Andrew. Glad you made it back.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Yep. Take care. Jack, you really don't have to be here, man. Like, if I'm bothering you that much by talking about what I want to talk about on my own show, no one's holding you hostage, making you watch my program. It's not that big a deal, man. It isn't going to hurt my feelings if you go, John, I'm not interested in this topic. I will come back on Friday and see what else you got cooking. It's not going to hurt my feelings, man. I don't want to ruin your morning by making you watch what I want to talk about on my own program. Jeez. Oh, man. It's like some people like act like they're being held hostage in a room and they're tied on one of those boards and they're making you watch my show. Bro, don't let me ruin your morning. Don't let me ruin your morning. And Andrew is... God, man, you can never make everybody happy here. Oh, that's for sure. 574. Then I got 937, another 574, 618. You're all coming up. 574. What's going on?
Hey, John. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. What's on your mind today?
Perfect. All right. So I'm from Northern Indiana. Not necessarily South Bend area, but I live close enough to Michigan where I have to deal with Michigan fans.
Oh, buddy.
And you know, first off, I have to defend you because, you know, people that don't want to talk about the Michigan thing, like, you know, I get it, but at the same time, like, if you're serious about football and like you're a diehard about Notre Dame, you have to care about stuff like this because just football as a sport, like in many ways, like translates into life. And what happened with Michigan winning the national championship, it's like the bad guy won, you know, the nice guy finishes last. Like this is Michigan winning personifies some of the worst parts of like the sport.
Yep.
And I'm with you. I just can't let it go.
I know. That's how I feel too. Well, here's how I put it. Think about this. What lesson do you teach little Timmy and Johnny, your 10 and 12-year-old boys that love college football, that when they go, Daddy, how is this coach suspended twice in the year for wrongdoings, but then he's number one? What lesson exactly does that send us? I don't have a good answer to that. And the other problem with it is, though, here's the problem. Nobody likes a cheater, but also nobody likes somebody whining about a cheater. That's the part I'm getting stuck in now. No one likes a cheater, but nobody like in school liked the tattletale kid being like, oh, teacher, somebody did this, get him in trouble. Nobody likes that little bitch either. So I don't like being in this position because I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm not going to let people speak about this situation as if that's not a part of the discussion. I don't appreciate being put in that spot.
Well, and as much as I agree with that, like, you know, no one likes a tattletale, but at the same time, like they're almost proud they did it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah, they got away with it.
You know, they'll stand up and raise their hand like, yeah, we cheated. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And then they go ahead and win, and it's just it's a slap in the face. It's and it's
you know what I
insult
said?
To
you know what
everything
I called
it?
It? I called it a slap in the face of righteousness. That's what I called it. And I like that. Like, it just feels like these people did not deserve to be rewarded. And here's the other problem. The other problem is I keep hearing, well, John, you know, Harbaugh, this is going to run a Harbaugh off. So Harbaugh's going to go to the NFL. You got what you wanted. Harbaugh's out. Then maybe they'll get sanctions and it'll, you know, whatever. No. It's too late. They had to not win anything. Then Harbaugh goes, and then the NCAA hammers that. But the key was They couldn't win at all. Now, if Harbaugh leaves, he's the ultimate Jesus martyr. And I don't like that either, because he's going to go off into the sunset and then they'll look at him as a martyr. He's got to leave for the betterment of the cause. But on the way out, he won a title. And then he's the old lion that dies in the jungle, walks off the reservation. You know what I mean? So there's nothing about it I like at all. There's just nothing about it I like at all. Not one thing.
Yeah. And then you brought up in one of your shows earlier in the week where, like, yeah, they definitely deserve to beat Washington. But, why are they even in that position? Plus, Big Ten football versus Pac-12 football, I just knew once Michigan beat Alabama, they're winning the national championship. And that's just what I hated the most about it. Like, you could see it coming. There was nothing you could do about it. And you're like, yeah, the bad guys are about to win. Like, here it comes. But then, kind of to transition a little bit, that's what makes the 2023 season for Notre Dame so frustrating, because all these, Pac-12 teams that are offensive powerhouses that are essentially, they don't really have much of an offense, but they have really great receivers and a really great quarterback. And all they can do is just air it out all day long. But a team that can get through the line and get to the quarterback, the Pac-12 teams have no idea what to do with that. And that's Notre Dame's bread and butter. I mean, that's how they destroyed USC this year, just getting after the quarterback. I'm like, man, if Notre Dame wouldn't have sleptwalked, in the Louisville game, or at least, put up another touchdown against Ohio State, like, Notre Dame could have very well been in Michigan's position where they can just get after Penix all night long and walk out a champion.
Yeah, but you know what Notre Dame hasn't been doing? Able to run the ball in the biggest games when it matters the most. And that is the number one thing I will take away from this Michigan run is, you want to talk about O-line give me them guys, because they push around everybody. It isn't just Navy and Central Michigan. They pushed around everybody. 303 yards rushing in the title game, protecting enough for 220 passing yards against Alabama and their athletes. That O-line protected. And so that I got to give them full credit for. Didn't even have their original starting O-line and ran it for over 300 yards in the title game. I genuinely do respect that. That's what we want to be. So I don't know, man. It's just, we'll get over it. It's just, this is the one it couldn't be. If it wasn't us, at least not them, has been the way I process this every year since I was a kid. And now that's thrown off and I'm adjusting.
Yeah. I don't know how to deal, because it's like the football gods should have helped us out and they didn't. And now here we are. We have to watch our enemies to the north here.
Yeah, you just
celebrate. And
man, karma, you're just like, where's the justice? Where's the, you're always raised, do the right thing, you'll be rewarded. Do the wrong thing, karma will get you. Where karma got them a parade, like right now. And I have trouble.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just have trouble rationalizing that. This would already be hard enough if there was no cheating thing. That is an added layer to this. Look at this, Rob, the Michigan fan in here. Cheaters, cheaters, cheaters. LMAO, kiss the ring. Oh, kiss an asterisk.
Yeah, I've loved seeing all the memes instead of the national championship trophy. It's a trophy with an asterisk on top of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, just wait and see. Like, they shouldn't have won it to begin with, but I'm hoping the championship is going to be taken away, and then, I mean, they'll still ride that high because they're Michigan fans.
Oh yeah.
And they're just,
yeah.
We still beat Washington. It's, we still beat Alabama. We may not have a trophy in the case, but we're still better than everyone else. It's just an attitude that is, like, insufferable.
Yes.
You just can't deal with them.
Yep. You're right there with me, man. That's my experience too. And so I don't know, man, it is what it is. I guess we could try and get our minds around the idea that this shows teams built more like Michigan and Notre Dame could get there. Like, maybe I will get there, but I'm not there 2 days later. So forgive me. Maybe I'll change how I feel about it. It's just a little too hot. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for the call. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I understand you completely.
Yeah, not much else. Just go Irish, win in 2024. I mean, I think we can do it. We just got to get serious about being this new Notre Dame football team, you know?
Yep.
Just be those guys.
I'm with you. And again, you got a big one, week 1. I'm already looking to it. This season just ended. I'm already saying, here's Notre Dame's next opportunity to take the next step, win one of those big games in a big moment with everybody watching. There you go. Week 1, SEC road game. So there you go, man. So we're going to have to get after it early. Hey, thanks, man. I really do appreciate the call. Don't let the Michigan people get you down.
Oh, no chance. No chance. Go Irish.
Have a good one. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't imagine if you were like a Notre Dame guy stuck in Michigan somewhere or something. Ooh, baby. Man. Yeah, it's just rough. Sloppy Joe. ND had a flawed roster this past season. Those flaws are nearly gone. 24 is the year ND can compete for a title. I don't know, man. I want to see what's the offensive line going to be like. And I want to see how these receivers come together. I expect it to be a more well-rounded, a better group than what we had this year and definitely the year before. I want to know against the best teams we play and the most physical defenses, what's Notre Dame's offensive line going to be like? I have just a little bit of concern about that. Defense, yeah, exactly, Andrew. I need to see some of that wide receiver thing come together before I'm that bought in that there's no flaws. But that O-line, man, again, you're going to be able to run it on Navy and Miami, Ohio for the Always Irish tailgate. Be there, be square, by the way. That's always going to be, you're always going to be able to do that. I don't care about that. Can you run it against Florida State? Can you run it on A&M? Can you protect in those moments? That's what I need to see next year. Okay, back to the phones. We got a few more calls. Everybody's getting on today. Oh, 937. What's going on? I'm afraid to ask. I'm afraid to ask.
I am living in hell right now. I think could it get any worse? Could it get any worse?
Yeah. Hey, number one. Number one. Thank you for the Christmas card. I did receive it. Thank you very much. Very thoughtful.
Oh, good. Good. Well, I'm trying to bring a little cheer to everybody, and you definitely bring cheer to us and my dad and myself and people that listen to you. So, thank you so much for that. And unfortunately, you can blame us for all of this mess. Listening to your first caller, he's very astute. I like him. He's one of your better callers, definitely. But I would say this: it wasn't Urban that was the issue. I mean, Urban is what Urban is. The biggest issue with him leaving was Michael Drake. Ohio State hired a fancy president who came out of the Ivy League, I believe, thought he was going to run an Ivy League institution here. Literally, after his run-in with Urban Meyer, he couldn't even withstand the pressure he got after that. He took off, and he is now the president at Cal University. So that guy was who ran Urban Meyer out of town. Urban told Gene Smith, though, so the inside track, and this is stuff that's coming out. You know, it's interesting. All the interesting stuff comes out after Coach loses 3 times to Michigan, right? But Urban Meyer apparently told Gene Smith that you know how the transition from him to Ryan Day looked like this thing where it was like both these guys were in agreement on this, and it was best for the program. That was all pretty much looks from what Urban wanted them to do a full-out go out and interview coaches, make a nationwide search. Gene Smith did not want to do that at the time. So that Urban kind of saw, I think, some of the writing on the wall of how big this program is and saying like, hey, you don't want a guy that's never been a head coach for your head coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting into some other things about this, Michigan's program. The sad part is all these callers that are in these guys on your comment box saying, hey, we don't want to talk about this. This, unfortunately, now, because of this stupid scandal, is going to continue to drag out. So we're going to have to hear about Michigan for the next 5 months.
Yeah.
Until we have some real college football to talk about. So that's going to suck.
Can I ask you an Ohio State question or two? Number one is, what do you think is the number one thing that's missing right now? Like, just as an observer, man, Ohio State's got a lot of talent, but it ain't clicking you think that it should. What would you think? What do you think is the number one reason? Because you can see the raw talent, but it isn't all put together, and then having that extra edge that they had for a bunch of years. What do you think's causing that? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not trying to troll you. Like, that's your team. And
no.
Like, that's what I see in your team. And I'm just wondering what you see as far as why it feels like they're underachieving. They lose one game a year. It's underachieving. I get it. But you know what I mean, the whole vibe.
Yeah. So this is what's happened. This is the problem with Ryan and his philosophy is that Ryan takes more of an NFL approach, which I think is better for low-key games. I think his approach of being more, I guess, low-key during practice is better for games that you don't have to get up for. So it works out in that way. But for games that you have to get up for, this team doesn't. They don't have that extra gear that Ryan that an Urban Meyer would chew into those guys.
Yeah, that edge, that extra.
And I think
that extra. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that extra gear that you need when you play these teams.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan has lost that extra gear. I do think now this is so to get to the silver lining of all of this, and there's really no silver lining. It's more of like a brass lining. Okay, it's something that had to happen anyway. For Ohio State at least, I am seeing an all-out blitz, like a blitzkrieg in the transfer portal, and possibly I think it's coming from our NILs. I think enough people have had enough, and NIL is going to be a thing where we're just going to go out all-out arms war against them, and also there's. Ryan Day has said that he's going to get an offensive coordinator. Finally, people have been calling for that for a while. And supposedly, the word on the streets is it's going to be Press Taylor, who is Zach Taylor's brother. I don't know. Zach Taylor is the head coach of the Bengals, but Press Taylor is the offensive coordinator right now at Jacksonville. So that's kind of the low key. But you saw the night when Michigan won the whole thing. We got the number one running back out of in the SEC out of Ole Miss, who in the portal is coming to Ohio State. So I think things are. It's Ohio State. I think is realizing in order to beat Michigan, we need to do an all-out blitzkrieg style of getting players and also firing coaches that are underperformers. Ryan, a lot of the fan base feels that he's hired a lot of people that are friends and not real coaches, and it's showing in development. And so now it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm seeing JJ is going to the NFL. Harbaugh's leaving. So that just tells me that there's something coming down on them.
Yeah,
but it's too late.
That's the thing. That does not make me feel. That does not make me feel any better. They had to not win the championship and then trigger all of these occurrences. That's the sweet spot. It doesn't matter now. Harbaugh's a winner. Crucifix. Freaking martyr on the way out. I hate it. I just hate it so much. Yeah. I hate everything about it.
Also,
I just hate everything about this. It rubs me the wrong way. I hate it.
Yeah. In 2020, when his team was terrible, he put his tail between his legs, took his ball home,
Yeah, we're
didn't
all
play
sick.
Ohio State. They
Yeah.
actually had a practice
Yep.
the next day.
Yeah.
They had a team practice,
Yeah.
and
He knew what was
he
coming.
completely changed everything.
Yeah, they knew what was coming. And now I got to say this, though. Goolsby, my Patreon partner, the former Notre Dame captain linebacker, and he keeps telling me, though, John, I understand all of your anger and hatred towards those people and Harbaugh being a weirdo, but he goes, you got to give them credit, man. They really did do us against everybody, and they were all pulling from the same end of the rope. All the vibes were right. Everybody bought in. Like, all of that was spot on perfect. And I got to hand it to them. They built that culture. And they pulled it off, man. As much as I hate it, they did.
I get. So we have a couple people.
They came together as a team, and in all the biggest moments of the year that could change they made all the plays this year. They just had it all going for you. They had it all going. Yeah, go ahead. And then I have a question from you that came in. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Not just in the sense that they won. They won it so many levels this year with the support they got from their administration, the foresight from their administration of not scheduling anybody at the beginning of the year for the last 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, just they've had every advantage. So it's just I think teams should take note.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ask me your next question.
Okay, so Andrew, that's the guy that called in first that you were referencing. And so he typed in a question for the caller. If you guys got frustrated and let Ryan Day walk away, where do you go then? That's the tricky part, man. How do you fire a guy who loses like one game a year? But it ruins everything. That one game seems like it's more than one game when you look at the effects of not winning that one game. Like, look what not winning that one game turned into this year. Everybody's biggest nightmare. That's tricky. Where do you go? You can't let a guy go who loses one game a year, can you? What do you do? Where do you turn?
Well, with a 12-team playoff coming next year, it would have been impossible for him to. It wouldn't have happened. If we had the 14 next year, then there would have been a possibility. So this year, where would you have turned? Well, look at the guy that just got hired from the Titans. He's the ex-Buckeye. I mean, I'm sure if he can throw enough money his way, why wouldn't he come back? But
is it fickle?
It's hard to say.
Is fickle the easy move? And you just tell him to upgrade from where he's at, which is a clear upgrade. Is that the move?
No, I think I don't think he's the move. I think he's the move if he can get Wisconsin respectable again. Yeah. But until he can do that, I think the move for, like, if it would have happened this year, your move would have been the guy at the Titans. What the heck's that coach's name?
Vrabel?
It's Nathan Vrabel. Yeah, he would have been your guy this year. But or I mean, honestly, with Michael Drake gone, we have a new president that came in. He's an admiral. He's a former admiral from the military. He was at Nebraska before. I mean, hell, I think a guy like that could probably bring Urban Meyer back. I know that sounds crazy, but I just think he's more of a man's man than what we've had here in the past as far as presidents. But so that's where I would turn to. But one other thing, and this is interesting, John, with the NIL and all of that, and the transfer portal. Ohio State's known for their receivers, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're kind of known for right now. Did you know that going into next year, they only have 6 scholarship receivers on roster?
Why is that? Just
That's
too many guys. Too many
coming.
Guys leaving, like jumping because they're not playing, and then guys going to the league.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of everything. Guys going to the league, but with the transfer portal, if these guys don't play because they're behind a 5-star and they're a sophomore, they're out. It's just. That's going to be the new thing, I think.
Yeah,
as far as skilled players.
Let me ask you.
Players,
God, let me ask you this. Final thing here. All I hear about is Look at what a big fan base Ohio State has, spread out all over, big alumni base, blah, 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 blah. We all know how much, Ohio State people, whatever. Well, then why the hell are they not front and center with NIL then? Make that make sense to me, man. That's all I hear.
Yeah.
Is like what a big, huge fan base Ohio State has, and we're all this big legion. Well, then pony up the dough. Why? What's been the hiccup?
So the hiccup is, and this is a hiccup for Notre Dame too. I think it's the hiccup of, Ohio State. The northern schools haven't really paid for players like the southern schools. It's in the culture in the South, and it's changing. It's going to start changing. But a lot of the big donor names in the North, they're used to being able to buy a building and have their name on the building, and that comes with prestige. They're not used to just giving out money to players, they don't get any.
Trust me. I fully understand. I was talking to the kid of a Notre Dame board of Regent member, and their son, and he likes my show and sometimes drops me kind of information from dad type of stuff. And he was telling me they literally like walk around and they're mad that some family donated $1 billion and got a building with their name bigger than their name. Like that's literally how they do it, is donate money to outbuild the bigger building than another rich family with your name on it. It's literally a thing that guy told me is a real competition over there for that status. I totally get where you're coming from. That's how those people think.
Yep. And so that's how we've thought in the North, I think, for a while, and I think it's going to start changing. But I think it's really going to start changing now that we've lost Michigan 3 times in a row.
Yeah, something, dude. If that doesn't tell you, you got to really look at your everything and adjust. Nothing will. Like your culture, your preparation, your mentality, all of that. Like, you need to figure something out when you're strike 3 here. So I don't know, man.
Right.
I
will say this. One thing that's interesting about the whole NIL thing is that the NFL right now wishes they had the college model. I don't understand how this works, but how NIL actually works, because it's like fans have to pay for the tickets. They pay to watch everybody, and now they have to pay for players. The NFL wishes the fans had to pay for players and tickets, and you know what I mean. Like I just don't see how it's sustainable long term. I think things got to change eventually, but I just wanted to lay that on you.
Yeah. So, hey, man, I imagine like whatever I feel, you guys in your group should feel it worse because I hold you guys partially responsible for this rise. I know that's not fair. Dude, I know that's not fair. It's like you got to give Michigan credit for the team they have and the camaraderie and how good of a combined unit they are and everything whatever, fine, credit them. But you guys were always like that final curb, right? That could stop and halt any of that. And now it's just kind of sparked and then it turned into bigger flames. And now we end up here. So it's just kind of rough, man. Anything on the way out? Thanks for touching base.
Yeah, last thing. The thing that really rubs Buckeye fans too the wrong way. J.J. McCarthy grew up an Ohio State fan, but Ryan Day didn't go after him because he wanted a guy that was more of a drop-back quarterback and not a scrambler. And so that's killing us here. And you can see with us getting Will Howard, we're going to go back to more of a running style, a dual threat. So just leave you with that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again.
Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for touching base and hang in there. But the Ohio State thing's very interesting. I want to see how it plays out. Thanks, man. Have a good day. Oh, man. He's so pleasant. 574. Give me some more. I got a 618-703 coming up. What's up, 574?
Hey, John, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Just kind of got a lot of postseason stuff in my brain about the Michigan thing, about where we're headed. feeling like we're close to maybe turning a corner here, but it has to show on the field before anybody will believe it. There's just a lot rolling around in my brain. Where are you at today? What are you thinking about?
My brain process right now is just kind of just moving forward. It's actually kind of deja vu a little bit, because I was talking to my cousin, and my other side of the family, they're all Michigan State fans, my mother's side. And they are more ticked off about this than us.
Yeah.
And for years, that side of the family's always, teased us about the whole Pete Carroll situation a few years back, and like, oh, he was ahead of his time, and he was one of the best coaches of college football's ever seen. And now that this year's happened, and you see the direction of Harbaugh maybe returning to the NFL, I just like to rub this in their face, because I'm like, so how does it feel that you have somebody who's known to be cheating right now leaving from the NFL and is not going to get punished, and it's from your rival school?
Yeah, it's the problem is the delusion of the Michigan fan base and media is there is no guilt, there is no shame, there is no admitting we did wrong. There is none of that. Harbaugh would walk away as a martyr hero forever. They win. Like, I'm sorry, even if the NCAA says it doesn't, they've already won. Like, it's a bad scenario, man. It's a really bad scenario. Everything came together for them this year. It's very frustrating.
The only thing I could see them only getting ticked off about this is if he leaves and the program is left in terrible hands.
I just think you got the one you needed, though, man.
If he does leave now, that could happen.
You got the one you needed, and that's a big deal to those people. What do they do, though? If Harbaugh leaves, do they just give it to Sherrone Moore? Hey, Sherrone Moore outcoached Ryan Day. He didn't have I'm a new coach, I'm nervous. He went out there and outcoached Ryan Day in that game. Ryan Day, coach, scared. Sherrone Moore let it all hang out, flopped it out on the table, and said, stop us. And they didn't. They didn't. That guy coached with balls. I hated watching it work, but I had to credit Sherrone Moore. I'm going, holy shit. Michigan's interim coach is out coaching. He's running circles around Ryan Day. It was unbelievable to see. I hated it, but I respected that shit at the same time.
For me, that should tell you everything you need to know about Ohio State's situation. Did you know they held open tryouts the day after the national title?
Gosh, open tryouts for what?
Their football. I'm not kidding.
Oh, geez.
The day after.
Hey, man. I don't know.
You have a program that's got 5 stars all around the team, and you held open tryouts the day after national title.
Something isn't clicking. Something isn't connecting. There is something missing with the Ryan Day thing. I cannot put my finger on it, but there's something missing. It's incongruous. They have so much talent, but I'm not seeing them play with that extra edge they always used to play with, and then especially play with against Michigan. I'm not seeing it, but Ohio State's not my team. I don't know all the details. I just know what I see from the outside. They ain't got that edge like they used to have, and it's a problem.
Here's how you can tell a good coach from a bad one. When a player leaves and goes somewhere else, whether that be the NFL or goes to the transfer portal and goes somewhere else and does better, that should tell you right there the coach is not doing his job. And what better example than this when you look at the players that have left Ohio State for the NFL? Like C.J. Stroud, how in the world did you not win a national title with him?
Yeah.
And don't tell me it's like, oh, because of that Georgia defense. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You have the weapons to compete with anybody. There's no excuse.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot though, man. You cannot let a guy go that loses like one game a year. Like you can't, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. That is a very awkward dynamic for Ohio State people. It's dangerous if you say losing one game a year isn't good enough or whatever, even if it's the one game. That's dangerous because you just don't know that you're going to be able to upgrade. So they're in a very, very weird, tenuous spot. And I wonder this too. Under the radar, out of nowhere, a part of me wouldn't be surprised if I woke up one day and they said, Ryan Day's going to the NFL. Just be like, I could see him not liking this pressure and like you lose one game a year, you guys all want to burn me out of town. I could see him low key being like, I don't need this. I'm out of here. That would not surprise me. I'm always open to that with him.
I don't think he will though. And the reason why I say that is because he knows that he would be run out of town like Matt Rule was. Everybody said the same thing about Matt Rule.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think Ohio State's he's benefiting from Ohio State more than they are from him. And the last 3 years prove that.
Yeah,
and if he ever loses the offensive staff that he has, especially the wide receivers coach, God forbid, if that guy ever finds another job, Ryan Day's days are numbered. There's no way he's going to replace that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. And you know what else I think about with this too is, this is also in my mind. I think about how the new playoff era is going to change the way some of this is looked at. Do you get what I mean? Like the bar there, Ohio State people are not going to be happy with just making the playoff. You're going to have to win a couple games, right? Like the new playoff era is going to shape some of this too. They're not going to be okay with just making the playoff and not winning a game. I don't know, man. I don't know. I got enough to worry about with Notre Dame than Ohio State too. All I know is I don't have all the answers, but I could damn sure see when things aren't all lining up right, and they have not had things all lining up right. I don't have all the answers. That ain't my program to worry about. I'm just saying I can tell something ain't clicking right. That's all.
At least you know that we are heading in the right direction, though.
Yeah, I feel good about
that.
Yeah. I feel good. I feel good about where Notre Dame's going. I like it. The roster's getting better. It's getting deeper, more athletic. I trust coaching staff more. Freeman's starting to round into form. It's all trending up. However, you got to get wins on the field and big wins on the field. That's nobody. I don't blame anybody who's like, yeah, I hope things turn out right, but you got to start winning bigger games. Yep, I'm with you. That's fair.
So here's a question I have for you, because this was going through my mind the entire game Monday. Did you ever see that rumor of we were supposed to get the trailer for the NCAA game and we never got it?
Yeah.
I've seen more people mad about that than Michigan winning the title.
Yeah. That's
which
funny.
I think is so funny which, by the way, they didn't even come out and confirm, yes, we are not giving out a trailer. They just didn't say anything.
Yeah. You know what it is, man? There's some people that not everybody feels the way I feel about Michigan. Like some of it may be geographical also. Me being in Illinois, closer to Michigan, maybe if you lived in a different geographical part of the country, you wouldn't have that same animosity I do by geographics alone. So maybe some people don't feel the way I do, but I just can't handle it.
I would just say, like I said, I think it's just going to be another Pete Carroll USC situation. And God, who knows what the NCAA is going to do? They might do something. They probably might do more than just vacate the wins. I mean, they might give them the USC punishment and ban them from bowl games.
I don't know what they're going to do. Part of me, I don't trust those people. I never trust those people. A part of me is worried they're going to go, oh, man, now they won the title. We really don't want to take it away from them. Let's just hammer them with a bunch of lower level shit, but let them keep that. I do not trust these people at all. They do have a hard on for Harbaugh, but he may be leaving and get, anyways, I don't know. I don't know. I just wish we didn't have to talk about all this stuff, but here we are.
I mean, that's the biggest thing that people are going to always bring up is this. Like, if you have to have people arguing, like, we won it, yeah, but you cheated, then what victory do you have? Because this isn't a victory that, Georgia or Alabama or LSU a few years ago always had to talk about. It was they won it fair and square. They got to respect them and their program for what they did. That was always the conversation. It's not at this year. And that's going to be something that if you want to brag about, that is not, I don't know why you would want to brag about it. You have a controversial win.
Yeah. Yep.
That's not something to be proud of. That's something to be embarrassed about.
Yeah. But you got to look at the mentality of who you're dealing with here. And it all plays into the concept. It all plays in perfectly of how I think they are. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for touching base today. I do appreciate it.
Of course. And I always go back to also what Lou Holtz used to say, like, you can find the dumbest person in the room because they're the loudest. And usually they're a Michigan fan.
Oh, God bless Lou. Just had a birthday. God bless him. Hey, thanks, man. Thank you.
That was screaming in my head all week, just being like, just remember what he used to say.
Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, take care, my friend. And I see that 574. Keep in mind for the blue and gold game, we're having a tailgate. Feel free to come over, okay?
Oh, absolutely. I won't miss it.
Beautiful, man. Have a good day, man. Take care. Thank you. Oh, let's look at another chat here. V1 Rotate with the $10 holler. John, I just got an email from an elderly man telling me my passion about Notre Dame football is misguided and sent a URL link to donate. What should I do? I think you should donate, V1. All the money you have in your bank account, you should wire over. Dear Captain Jack, and it says, what is this for? And you name it, you label that transaction retirement gift. And you donate all your hard-earned, your life's worth, all your money, and you donate it to Jack as a going-away present. Although, I'm still not sure whether the Denbrock thing, if the driver of that was Jack on the way out as the last thing, or if the driver of that was more Bavacqua. I would much prefer it's Bavacqua because that's the future. And if that's your first big move, I'm interested. I've been thinking about that. Whether it was Jack on the way out before the New Year transition. If it was more Bavacqua, oh, baby, I love that. What a way to get going. What a way to get going. So I love that. Here we go, Luke again. I know John has put himself into a corner with Freeman, and nobody these days wants to admit they're wrong. But I truly wonder what John thinks of Freeman as a head coach privately. I'll tell you what I think publicly. He's a work in progress. Freeman's not a finished product. He's got to get a lot better at everything within his control. The Marcus 10-man thing needs to be over. The timeout, time management, that all needs to kind of go bye-bye. Year 3, you don't get the leeway for those kind of mistakes you get when you're in year 1 and 2. You just don't. People are not going to have the patience for it anymore, and that's perfectly fair. Got to tighten that up. However, Freeman's personality to me, work ethic, relationship building, recruiting, all of that, tells me that if he could get it all together, there's a higher ceiling there than there was before under the last few coaches. That's my honest to God thought. Not a finished product. There's a lot of work to do and a lot that has to be cleaned up. We have to see in year 3 that's different than the first 2. But Freeman has a high upside. If you could get it all together, he has a very, very high upside. Higher level things are achievable, but it all has to come together and we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. Oh, look at this. Another Michigan fan. Do all UND fans like pulling out the black and white videotapes, seeing your glory days? They had color TV in 88, jerk. It was all grainy. It looked like the Zapruder film. But they had color TV in 88, so back off. God, I hate everything about this. I'm trying to roll with it and have fun with it. I hate everything that's going on right now. I just hate it. Okay? I just do. 618, and then I got a 703 and a 385. What's up, 618?
Hey, John, man. I hate it too, but man, I have to live with it. You know, I mean, my nephew is an Ohio State fan, and he was like, man, you know, man, I don't want them to lose their national championship. It'd be that much sweeter if, you know what I'm saying, if Ohio State or Notre Dame win the national championship next year. I mean, I want anybody to win it, but anybody in the SEC.
Yeah. Do you take the way Michigan built their team and had their run? Do you take that and apply it to Notre Dame, playing good defense, being a really good run team that could run over even the better teams you play? Like, do you look at it that way? Do you see like this is a opening for teams other than the way Georgia's built and Alabama's built and even Ohio State? Like, do you look at it that way, or is there not a connection to you?
I mean, yes, it's a connection, but you got to have the coaches that really coaches that style, man. You can't have a guy that runs his offense that got a wide open offense. He's running the ball, and it doesn't apply. You know, you got to have the kids, you got to have the recruits, you got to have everything. You don't have to go out and get the 5 stars. You got to go out and get people that fit your system.
Yeah,
you got to go out and get the kids that fit the system. And that's one thing I could give to Harbaugh. He did it at Stanford. He did it at Michigan. Man, he even did it in the NFL with the 49ers for a while, man. He went out and got the men and the kids that fit his system.
Yeah, it's man, that makes sense. What do you think about this, caller? Andrew Gilmore says, John, I see Michigan's title more about the SEC coming back to the pack. They can't hoard all the good players in the portal era. Do you think there's something to that? Or do you believe maybe we're starting to see more parity where it's kind of spread out a little bit?
And yeah, I mean, that's with everybody, with all the conferences. It's just not with the SEC. I mean, it's with Notre Dame. It's with the Big 10 schools, the Big 12 schools. Man, these kids, man, they're loyal to the schools, but when they start seeing that the schools aren't really loyal back, and these kids is not getting an opportunity to play. And I was just speaking to somebody yesterday, telling them, like, if I'm one of the better players in the country, why in the world am I going to Alabama when I could go somewhere and play? And now we're in the 12-team playoff era. Why would I want to go to the Georgias or the Ohio States as a receiver or these schools, knowing that I might not play for at least 2 years? Why would I might not play till I'm a junior, so why would I want to go to those places when there's 12 teams that make the playoffs now? I can go to the Missouris. I can go to the Colorados. I can go to these places now because I can get early playing time and start my NFL resume. And then on not only that, I can get paid to play. You know what I mean? It's not just with the SEC, man. The SEC always going to probably be one of the better conferences because of their stigma of that the South is has better high school football than the Midwest and the Northern schools. But I don't see them coming back to the pack. I see it's going to be a lot of parity like it was in the NFL in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and the other thing is the new playoff. It's going to change a lot, man. Like, that is going to be another month added. If Notre Dame was in it, that's another month added to the season of a tough string of games. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. And I got a feeling you're going to end up with about 8 or 9 of the same 12 teams in it almost every year. I'm already seeing that. I bet you it's going to be 8 or 9 of the same teams every year and then a couple new ones. That's how I see this playing.
Every once in a while, you're going to see a Colorado come in. You're going to see A&M come in. Man, you're going to see about 3 to 4 schools that man, I don't see it's going to be 8 or 9. I think you're going to see the same 3 to 4 schools in it, like almost every single year. It just have to have one of them down years for them not to be in it. And then even in their down years, like the Alabama, I think Georgia is going to come back to earth. I don't think Alabama will, as long as Nick Saban is there. I think they're going to always be in the playoffs. You're going to, man, you might, and I was listening to a show and they were talking about Missouri yesterday. I said, man, look, Missouri is good, man. Most of the kids that's transferring from the St. Louis area and the Kansas City area, they're going back to Mizzou. So, you know, some of these kids that was 5 stars and 4 stars are going back to Mizzou and they transfer. So, I mean, like I was listening to the guy about Ohio State. If I'm a receiver and I'm the number 1 receiver in the country, knowing that they got 90 receivers ahead of me, why in the world I'm going to Ohio State?
Yeah.
You're not even thinking. You're thinking NIL money, but you're not thinking NFL money. You're not thinking the long term. If I know that I got NFL talent, why in the world I'm going to Ohio State as a receiver? Why is I'm going to Georgia as a running back? Why is I'm going to Alabama as a running back? I'm going where I can get my early playing time. I can get the money that I'm going to get from NIL, and then I'm thinking long term to the NFL.
Yeah, I get it. It's just, man, I'm having a rough week. I just can't.
Look,
I'm having a rough week,
John,
man. I'm struggling with that Michigan
John,
thing. It's the one it couldn't be, man. It's just the one it couldn't be.
Get it. These next 2 years, we're going to get one, man. We're going to get one. We're going to get one. They're starting to let Freeman coach. They're starting to let Freeman have a play and a part. And the coaches that I want to the coordinators that I want, he is getting them coordinators now. With Jack, he wasn't getting them coordinators. Now we're starting to get them. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. In the next 2 years, we will get a national championship. This team will be built into a national championship power.
Yeah, man, I hope you're right. And this year's got to be the start to it. This has got to be a really strong year. You got to make the playoff this year. That's where this all needs to be. Like, it already is what it is. You got to make the playoff for a successful year. And then we see what matchup it is. But you got to make the playoff, period. Marcus, we got to do it.
First round game,
got to do it.
Because more than likely that first round game is going to have to be, man, we got to get that game in South Bend. And if we play Alabama, we got to get them in South Bend or Florida or any of them southern schools that ain't used to the cold weather. We got to get them in South Bend. We got to get them in December or January, whenever they start the playoff. We got to get them on them cold, snowy days, man, where it's freezing outside, man.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it, man. Give me that. I looked up the schedule. That first round of games is the week of Christmas. It's like December 20th. Bro, it could be cold and windy in South Bend. I would love it. I would love it, man. The colder, the better. I want that other team lighting garbage and barrels on fire to stay warm. Give me that cold.
With a minus 30 wind chill.
I want it. I want them dudes with the full face mask. You don't know whether they're robbing a bank or going to play at Notre Dame. I want them all messed up, man. I want them all messed up. That's what I need.
But it was something else I wanted to touch on before I got out there about Al Golden. I don't see Golden going down to Alabama. I don't see Golden. If he don't sign a new contract, that lets you know that Golden is going. He's looking for an NFL coordinator job. He's not going. I think this is his last go around in college. He's not dealing with no more college after this.
Yeah.
Man. I think he's more NFL. That's where he want to be. But I think if he can't get that, I think he finishes up at Notre Dame.
Yeah, man, it would be ideal if you could have Golden for a little bit longer, and then he leaves, and then Mickens slides right over, and then he has more experience, and he's already one of Marcus's right-hand men. That's beautiful. That's what I would like to see. So we'll see it.
I think
We'll
Golden is grooming Mickens.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's the idea. And I have heard and read people have been coming after Mickens, and Notre Dame has been able to hold them off. Marcus's relationship with him, it seems like they kind of do have an understanding of this plan. But people have been coming for him, and Notre Dame's been able to hold them off. Marcus has been able to hold other suitors off. So yeah,
and I don't think Mickens going nowhere, man. I think he's comfortable where he's at. He knows what, okay, if this guy leaves, even if, let's just say he gets the NFL coordinator job this year, I think that, man, that's a good thing of having an experienced offensive coordinator now, man. We don't have to, hey, this is the offense. This is you guys. Paduli, the running backs coach. This is y'all. If we have to promote, if we have to, promote, if we have to, upgrade, bring Mickens and make him the defensive coordinator, I could go over there and help him with that side of the ball.
Yeah. Yep.
That is Marcus special.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, man. We'll see. But this is a big year. And you have the year 3 stuff with Notre Dame. Historically, for whatever reason, year 3 is a big year for a lot of Notre Dame guys. I always say year 1 is like figure out, jump in, dive in, and see where you're at. Year 2 is the calibration. By year 3, you got to start tightening it up. And that's where we're at.
You look at our schedule this year, man, and if it's true that we're playing Army at Yankee Stadium, man, Notre Dame shouldn't have no more than 1 loss this year. And I think that schedule is like, it's extremely soft. They have problems with Stanford at home, man. Oh my God, 2 years ago. I don't think they're at that point no more. I mean, I don't see them losing the game this year. And I told you last year that I think that this 2025 is the year 2024 and the 25 playoffs is where Notre Dame is going to make that big push into the national championship game.
Yeah.
I don't see them losing no more than 1 game on this schedule, man.
That'd be beautiful. If you could somehow go 11-1, make that playoff, host a playoff game, that would be true, clear progress heading in the right direction. Anything else?
Or you go 12-0 and get that bye.
Well, we can't get the bye. We're not eligible for the bye because we're independent. Even right? We can't even get the bye.
Man, that's crazy, man. Because if we
don't get it
in the top 4, we can't even get a bye. But you know what? Yeah, we'll take that, man.
If you go undefeated, and Notre Dame's 12-0, ranked number 1, they're number 5 in the playoff. That's the highest we could get with no bye, I believe. So that is what it is. That's the tax we pay for not having a conference title game. Because I know, Michigan really was scared to play Iowa, who has no offense. And then Northwestern made that game with 4 or 5 losses multiple years. That Big Ten title game is an absolute insult to big time football. An insult.
But next year it won't be like that.
Exactly.
They have no business.
And I like that. That's going to get a lot more competitive. I like that a lot. I like it.
And whoever come out the SEC, man, they're going to have to be they're going to be super tough. I mean, with Joe, I think Georgia play at Texas, Alabama play at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's no more cupcake walks for Georgia and Alabama.
Yep. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. Big year for Notre Dame. Huge year for Marcus Freeman. The pressure's ramping up. It is justified. It should be that way. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Hey, have a good Wednesday, man. Thanks for touching base.
All right, man.
Take care.
All right.
Oh, what a nice guy. He calls all the time. Look at this. I don't know what to make of this. Pat, help me out. Late greetings, gang, at a friend's in Arizona, and we were otherwise occupied. No, not what you think. I don't know, Dr. John. You got people wondering what you're up to there. I'm picturing Dr. John in Arizona around some pool. and there's just like a dozen chicks there, and Dr. John's laying there in like his swim trunks. He got a cigar going. He's got a thing of champagne. There's music playing. He's got a dozen ladies around the pool. They're feeding Dr. John grapes. They're putting them in his mouth off the vine and everything, and Dr. John's just sitting there like a player. That's what I envision when I read this. That's the vision I have, Dr. John. It's hilarious. That's what I'm picturing. I could just see him chilling there, and there's just these ladies. It's beautiful. Oh, Dr. John, you're a riot. You're a riot. 703-385 coming up. Jack says, the problem is in Michigan, Johnny. Your rants won't change anything. We were in the big house a few years ago and got to endure the beatdown in tread terrain. That was far worse. Was it worse? I mean, it was worse that day, but at least Michigan didn't win anything either, right? And I agree with you. My rants won't change anything, but they make me feel better. Like, I totally get it. I totally understand. You're saying your rants won't change anything. Have you guys not learned yet over 6 years that that's how I cope? My rants are my therapy. That's how I get it all out. It's healthy for me. So I know it's not going to change anything, but it makes me feel a whole hell of a lot better to unleash it. So give me a break. 703, what's it going to be? You're talking to Johnny. What's going on?
The thing that really rubs me the wrong way about Michigan is that they play like they're the victim. I'm like, no, you cheated. Like, you're the ones that did things wrong, not everyone else.
Oh, my God, dude. The tweets have been outrageous. Like, they were tweeting, Harbaugh's a champion now, but they all railroaded him and tried to ruin this and run him out of the game for no reason. And he got treated wrong. And this is his comeback against them. They're always the victim. It's amazing the cognitive dissonance those people can put to work. It's unbelievable. They're always the victims. Like, it doesn't matter what they do. They're the victim. OJ, he's the victim. I can't understand it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the one thing I can take from this is that if you have a great group of coaches around you, like, you can compete with anyone, and that's what Michigan had. I mean, they have a big league coaching staff, and I mean, that looks like what Marcus is starting to build here in South Bend. The only ones I'm a little worried about is Gino and Rudolph, but even then, I'm like pretty positive that they'll all turn good.
What do you have against Gino? I like Gino working with the quarterback.
I like Gino.
Hey, it's better than having it's better than having. I hated when Tommy Reese was trying to draw up all the game plans and he was the quarterback coach. Those are two different full-time jobs. I think that affected those quarterbacks, that Tommy was the quarterback guy, but he was over there drawing up all the game plans. Those are two separate full-time jobs, and it always bugged me. So I like what I've seen from Gino. And by the way, I love the offensive game plan he drew up in the bowl game. I like Gino.
I like Gino too, but I wanted Hartman to be a Heisman finalist.
Well, maybe that's more of a problem with Hartman than Gino.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. Maybe we all realize Hartman's ceiling just isn't what anybody wanted. And if it was, he wouldn't have been at Notre Dame. He would have already been in the draft. Maybe we learned that the hard way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, also with Rudolph, the line started to look better with the young players. But I want them to be like as good as Michigan's line was the past few years. I want them to be able to help us run the ball against the good teams.
Hey, you know, if you've been around here long enough, that running the ball, that O-line you thing, that's a big deal to me. And Michigan, that is the number one thing I'm going to say is I got to credit them, man. When they wanted to run the ball on people, they ran the ball on your ass, and they just ran you over. 303 yards in the title game on the ground. Ooh, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. But looking at the schedule for next season, I'm pretty confident that we're going to make the playoffs. I mean, the only game like I'm kind of scared about is USC, just because like if their transfers come good. But I feel like A&M we should win because they lost like all of that class that they paid a bunch of money for. They lost almost everyone. I mean, they've got some good guys from the portal, but I don't know, like with Denbrock and with Golden, I feel like we should take them.
Man, it's such a big moment. It's such a big moment. You're going to get into the spring ball. You're going to have all these transfer guys. You're going to be looking at the quarterbacks, whatever. But Denbrock, everybody's going to be feeling good. And then that is week one. Man, you got to win that game at A&M to have any momentum. There is no scenario where you can lose that game and have any momentum. You just can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if we go 12-0, we get the 5 seed and we play like Little Sisters of the 4 group of 5 school. So that's pretty, I mean, it's not a bye, but it's close to a bye.
Yeah. And if you get
and
it
then
at
we'll
home,
probably play like
I like that. If you can get it at home and get some cold weather, like I'm there for that, man, that sets up beautifully for Notre Dame. But you got to make this playoff. That is priority number one, bar number one. If you're looking at successful or fail of the year is, did you make the playoff or not? Then we'll get into the matchups and what it looks like when you're in it. But the initial starting point of all this to me is, are you in it or are you out? Failure or success? It's that straightforward to me where we sit today.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, I just think like with all the roster and like we have good receivers, we have a good receivers coach. Well, we haven't seen it yet, but I'm hopeful that he'll be good. And we have a good quarter, and Riley developed the way we're supposed to. I'm gonna be shocked if we don't make the playoffs. But
yeah, no, you really, really need to. And it's a big year for Freeman. It all lines up. It's year 3. Like the leash is getting shorter on like the margin of error that people are willing to accept as new guy mistakes. That's all shrinking. The roster's turning over more in Freeman's likeness. The staff too. It's all time is moving, and we gotta crank it up. Year 3 is a big year. The expectation should be ramped up. They should be. I support that.
Mm-hmm. We just gotta get Jack to extend Golden. Just one more Jack, like one more big payout.
The deal is out there, I thought, and they're expecting it. I don't know. We'll see. And if not, then you have to start the Mickens journey a little bit earlier than you wanted to, perhaps, at DC. But I know for a fact teams have been trying to steal Mickens, and he's been loyal to Freeman and Notre Dame. People have been asking. They've been sniffing around that guy, and Notre Dame's been able to hold him off so far.
Yeah. I mean, Mickens and Freeman, they like grew up together, right? So that definitely helps.
Yeah, they're tight. They're tight. And so you need to do what you need to do to be able to keep him happy and respect him and then reward him, at the right time. But it's a big year next year. I expect Notre Dame's defense to be really, really good. And I expect the offense to take steps forward. How many? I don't know. They're going to take steps forward. I just cannot. I don't have a feel of how realistic, how big of a jump or not it would be. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm just like, let's get that top. I just want top 20 offense. I don't know. Do you think that's too much to ask for? Top 20?
Well, what? I mean, they scored 39 points a game, and we're in the top 10 technically this year.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, 39 a game had them. 39 a game had them, I think, number 9 in the country. And then I think defensively they ended up number 9. But it's more than that. It's who you're doing it against. It's what it looks like. It's all that stuff. So we're going to see, but it is a big, big year for Freeman. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for calling today.
No, just hoping that Riley develops. I'm sorry about the Geno take. I was getting frustrated about the quarterback play.
No, that's totally, dude. You don't have to agree with what I say. I don't know, man. I got a little thing for Geno. I don't know what it is, but I've always had an affinity for him. And Geno's really excited to get working with younger guys like Carr and like and Deuce. He's really excited to get his hands on him. So we'll see how it goes, man. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate it. Have a good day. You don't have to be sorry to call in here and disagree with me. That's totally fine. $5 holler from Jason. Thank you very much for your participation in the program. Keeping Steve as QB2 is a big priority. Riley got an injury history. We need a couple of aces on hand. We're going to have to see how spring plays out. You could end up in a situation where one of those other younger guys, Minchie or Angeli, leaves after spring the way Buckner did and went to Alabama like a day after the blue and gold game. And it made complete sense, by the way, when Buckner did that. They were working on all the details of that move, like when the blue and gold game was. And then Buckner looked completely checked out, disinterested, not there in his mind, totally out of sorts. And then you find out a day later he's leaving. It all made perfect sense then. He wasn't engaged, checked out, a lot of moving parts. That all made sense. We can't lose none of them. You might. That's the modern reality of how this quarterback thing goes. Guys want to be the starter, and a lot of them, if they don't get it, they're going to leave. That's just the way it is. So you got to pick the right guy to hitch your wagon to, and then hope you got a good backup. But anybody that thinks they're good enough to play, they want to go think they're going to go play. 385, make it come alive. What up?
Hey, what up, John?
How are you feeling now that Michigan's won the championship?
Oh, man. First of all, it happened, It happened. The way it happened is like what I told you years ago. We watched Reggie win the Heisman, It didn't, there's nothing that you can do that can make you unsee it, is what I mean.
Yeah, you can't undo it, man. It's just a scar there forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got one more national title than us now. That's what really chaps my hide, on that because, I think if they say unclaimed national titles, we'd have the most with 23, yeah, it was going to go that way. It's a friend of mine pointed it out this way, and I won't touch too much on that subject because, it happened. There's nothing we can do. Notre Dame's rolling the positive, but a friend of mine pointed this out. He goes, hey, you don't find it funny that Washington's in and they're going to be in the Big Ten next year, and Texas is in and they're going to be in the SEC next year? So either way, the Big Ten or the SEC rigged it.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, you got it all covered. You got it all covered, no matter which way you go. Yeah, you got it all. Now let me ask you this. Are you taking anything about the way Michigan built this to apply it to Notre Dame? Are you one of those people who's like, the power running game and a good defense, now this proves you can win it that way. Notre Dame, keep doing it or is it just kind of off the grid because it's Michigan?
No. You and the caller two callers ago, you guys hit on the head. No, he built that team to fit his system. You know what I mean? And you guys, it's cold out there. The weather here is almost similar to out there, but you guys ain't got no mountains like we do to block that wind, right? So they built it with those hog mollies, man, to push that line. I think Notre Dame needs to get that to approach that a little bit because, in the years past when we've gone to play Georgia or Ohio State, our D-line has held up so much, has given them a fight back. But I think you're right, what you said earlier. We haven't been able to run the ball the way we like, against those big teams in those big games. So I think we need to kind of take that approach a little bit. The way they were able to run that ball, man, this year and have those hog mollies on both sides of the ball, man, yeah, he built it right, man. It all does start in the trenches.
Yeah, it really does. And they play really good defense. That's the other thing. They play really good defense all year. You knew they were going to bring that every week. Anthony says, John, you could simultaneously be upset Michigan won and give them props for winning. That's called being objective. Great show. That's the thing, man. I give them total credit. They run the ball the way I need us to run the ball. We never run the ball in the biggest games. They literally... Bro, it was driving me nuts. I'm going, where's O-line you running the ball like this in a big game? It never happens. I'm mad about it.
All right. I think, yeah, you're right. You've been talking about it all show, and you're right. We haven't been able to. That's the truth. I mean, Louisville embarrassed us, right? You know, when we went in there, and then, you know, Louisville ended up getting blown out by USC. Not as bad as we blew out, you know, Oregon State, but they did, and they haven't been able to bring that O-line, you know, and really push the line the way we would like. In the last game, you know, when we gone into Georgia, I think the best thing we ever did was the Oklahoma game in Norman.
Yep.
And I think that's because Sierra Wood broke, or was it CJ Prosite? I can't remember.
It was Wood.
For like
it was. I think it was Sierra Wood. Dude, you know what? You know what I'm gonna say. I think that is the most impressive win of the Brian Kelly era to me is that road game in 2012 on a Halloween weekend in Norman. I genuinely, that was the most impressive victory to me that Kelly had to me.
Yeah, against the mediocre, 11-2. That was mediocre for Bob Stoops, because Bob Stoops was always in the talk for the national title run too. You know, that was an 11-2 Oklahoma team.
And that
you
being,
know what I mean?
that being like, in a away night game against that kind of brand, we had not done good in those moments. That was a good one to me.
Yeah, it was a good win. It was a good one. I remember watching that. I was a little bit younger then, but I'm not too young, too much younger, a little bit younger. But it was a great win. You know, but you touch on some things, like you said, the last caller said, yeah, like I said, like I told you in the last call, Gino called the phenomenal Sun Bowl game. Granted, it was against a depleted Oregon State team that was no quarterback, no coach, you know, no conference. But Gino, like I said, he only had 3 wide receivers. If you look at the tape, I went and then we watched the game, and he only had, you know, the 3, Thomas, Greathouse, and Faison, and he went with double tight end set. I'll tell you what, the one thing that I didn't touch on, Charles Jagasaw played really well in that game. He played really well protecting Angeli, man. I'm really proud of that kid.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for him. I think that's one kid we need to talk about more, man, is that left tackle. That's like the second most important position. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think he's going to do fine. I think he's going to replace Big Joe Alt really well right there. And now that we got them brought back, I think the pieces are starting to fall in. And we picked up another, DN with Burgess. Is he a DN or a D tackle?
Yep. I think he's in a rush end, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, the future looks really bright, man. And I'm glad that they finally gave Marcus that experience on offense, like you've been talking about. Get the experience. Because like I said, everybody talks about the guy here from Utah, that everybody, that all the Irish fans were big on, and he only scored 7 points in the bowl game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'll take Gino Gaduli any day over that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, hey, man, Notre Dame's offense, it's going to get better. I just don't know how much better. Like, I have no doubt that offense is going to be better overall next year. The issue is to what degree? And I just don't know how all those parts are going to come together enough to have an opinion on that. I don't know.
The one thing that I've been watching, and I'm a little, because, JJB, man, he had a phenomenal year for us, right?
Yeah, he did.
Comes over from Ohio State. And he really gives Ohio State the business in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't ask for a more phenomenal transfer year from anybody, right? I don't think that dude's talked enough about JJB.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm going to argue this.
Go ahead.
I'm going to argue he was probably a more a higher value transfer in the long run than Hartman, probably. That guy played great and consistently all year. He was maybe our most valuable transfer guy.
Dude, I'm with you right there. Like, I feel like that dude wasn't talked about. See, I got a friend, one of my best friends, a big Ohio State fan. He grew up there till he was about 16. So he's a big Ohio State fan, and he follows up on everything, even with us, because he knows the rivalry. But yeah, man, JJB to me was like, man, thank you, Ohio State. I don't ever think I'd ever say that. But like, thank you, Ohio State, for that kid, man.
Yeah.
What a great kid. What a great season he had. So that brings me to my point, along with Howard Cross and Riley Mills coming back, do we have anybody coming to back them up? Is Gabriel Rubio going to be healthy? Because, you know, that's what we need. Other than the O-line, we need guys to complement them, right? We can't just keep them out on the field 48 minutes, you know, 60.
And you know what else? You know, they're starting to, it's a priority. And 25 even is a D-line heavy recruiting class. They're going after there too. But Evan Mills and Cross back was a huge deal. That gives so much stability there. Really, really big deal, man. So it's going to be a big year for Marcus. Big year for the program, and I'm excited to get to spring ball, man. Anything else?
No. Oh, one last thing. Let me tell you something, man. You always say, you know why I love the Irish so much? When I was out there, right, my dad, third grade education from Mexico, he goes, son. And I said, what's up, Dad? And he goes, what time's the game? And I said, it's at 12, Dad. He goes, what channel? And he goes, I'm going to be looking for you. And I said, Dad, you're not going to see me on TV. But either way, I want to watch the game. You know, that's why I love this team and that university.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing greater, man, than a feeling like that, man, because the Irish, man, that's why I always say, onward Notre Dame, baby.
There you go.
Onward Notre Dame. Let's get to the spring game. Let's get to the spring game, John.
I love it, man. Be in touch. Thanks for calling, man. Have a good one. Take care.
Okay. You too, buddy.
Man, that guy. His energy. Final caller of the day, 219. You're on the line. Last one. What's going on, man?
Am I on?
Yep, you're up.
Hey, John. Yeah. So I hate like everyone else. I hate the fact that Michigan won.
Yeah.
They're just the most and it's not because it's Michigan. It's because of the fan base.
Yep.
Their fan base is so classless.
Correct.
It's not even funny.
Correct.
And here's the thing.
That
like,
has been my entire experience. Every in-life interaction I've had with them has been that way my whole life. I have not had one that was even tolerable. No respect, like just classless, just white trash, basically. Yes.
Yeah. You have, so you have us. We went undefeated. First time in my lifetime, we went undefeated in 2012. We self-report for a damn tutor.
Yep.
A damn tutor, and they dragged us.
Yes,
we were the laughing stock. Everybody did. They get caught in multiple cheating allegations that for sign stealing, Burgergate, sexual misconduct, and recruiting, and they're laughing about it.
Yep.
They don't care.
Yep.
They're so hypocritical. It's not even funny. Then to throw even more on that hypocritical, back in 2020 when they I'll try to make this quick. Back in 2020 when they didn't play Ohio State, they, like how you said, they took the ball. They were like the little kid on the playground. They took their own ball and went home when things didn't go their way.
It's all of it, man.
They tried saying the same thing when
it's all of it. You're right. You're right on all this, by the way. Keep going. Keep cooking. I like it. You're right. I'm with you on all these points.
They tried saying the same thing when we took them off our schedule. The thing about that is we signed Ohio State, Georgia, a few other tough teams. But if you think about it, what happened when we first beat them? They beat us, like 9 times in a row when we first opened up our program. Rockney becomes our coach and beats them. They take their balls, go home. What happens next? We play them with Leahy or Parsegian. It was like 30 years after. We beat them again after they beat us a couple of times. They take their ball and go home.
Yeah.
They do that every single time. And then the one time we do it to sign tougher competition, they want to act like they're, like we're chickening now.
Yeah.
They had everything so easy this year. So
I know. Every single thing on the field lined up for Michigan. The schedule, who they played when, just all of it. It all lined up beautifully for them. You're absolutely right on everything you're saying. And I always love you guys are scared. Why don't you guys are scared. Why don't you join the Big Ten? You're scared. You're scared. You're anti-Catholic, anti-immigrant, bigot. Your own guy is the reason Notre Dame's not in the Big Ten. They have nothing to blame but themselves for their own encouraged bigotry of fielding Yost that they all supported. That's on them, but they refuse. There's no reasoning with these people. They're not, their brains, they don't work. They don't work right.
Yeah, they are so hypocritical with everything they have like no morals or values. That's the thing I cannot stand. They will break Rule A, they'll commit murder, but then they'll judge you for speed. That's exactly how they're brain.
Yeah.
That's what I cannot stand about that fan base.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The mental gymnastics, and it's all of it, man. It's like 20 different things that all make you mad. All the hypocrisy, all like the easy schedule, the hypocrisy. Harbaugh being a weirdo, being suspended, but they keep winning. Like, it's all of it, man. Just even the quarterback sitting there with his shoes off, doing his little routine, voodoo, whatever he's doing. I don't like that either. Put your shoes on and get ready to play football. I don't even like seeing him there. I don't even like that. All this Zen bullshit. Put your shoes on and get ready for war. Although it doesn't matter. He won the game. So what do I know? He won the game. Whatever.
But I will say this. I've never been more excited for a Notre Dame season than I am right now. If we kept Parker, it would have destroyed Freeman's, I want to say it would have destroyed Freeman's, tenure at Notre Dame. He wouldn't have done anything with Parker. Even if he were to get Mike Denbrock a year after, how long are we keeping Al Golden? It's going to take multiple years for, or it might take a year or two for Denbrock to get the offense steaming. How long are you going to keep Golden? So that would have been a multi-year problem. Yeah. Michigan doing it kind of does make me think that we can win it the way we're doing it, but because we don't schedule, we don't schedule a cupcake schedule, and we're not going to cheat the way they cheat. We're going to have to have a couple more playmakers on the outside, have more depth on the outsides.
Yeah.
And then have that quarterback, like you always said, and we're getting there.
Yeah.
We are, I want to say we're getting there, and this makes me ecstatic.
Yeah. The biggest thing to me, here's the biggest positive to me. There's two of them, a bigger picture one and a more zoned in, like zoomed in lens one. The bigger picture one is the recruiting is getting better. The talent and the depth and the length and the athleticism are all improving. And so that is a longer term thing trending in the right direction that I love. In the shorter term, the concept that you flipped my biggest concern with all of this, which was that offense holding down what's capable. The way you flip that into something that I trust now that has almost no risk and all upside with Denbrock, that is a big deal to me. You took your biggest negative and made it a positive. That is, man, that's a big deal. That is a huge deal to me.
Yeah, I just needed to get all that off my chest.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did, and I'm with you on all.
Appreciate you taking my call.
No problem. Everything you said, I'm with you, and the hypocrisy and just all of it, and it wears you out. I mean, it tests your patience. But God bless you, my friend. Thanks for calling and getting it off your chest. That's what I'm here for. Anytime you want to get mad about something, dial it up, baby. That's what I'm here for. Let it rip.
How much do I owe you for therapy?
Yeah, dude, do you know how many people are like, man, this is kind of my therapy, and it's a lot cheaper for me to donate $5 in a super chat than $150 for my therapist. I'll take it. I'll take it, man. Hey, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Oh, man. Dr. John says, out of the hot tub, Cialis just kicked in. The funniest part of that is, like, Dr. John probably would think, like, in that moment even, Notre Dame stuff's going on. Even in that moment, he's thinking about Notre Dame and all that. And it's like, oh, wait a second. Got to talk about football while this thing's getting cranked up. Oh, what a way to end the show, huh? What a way to end the show. All right. Thank you, everybody. We jumped all over. We did the Michigan stuff. We talked about some of our stuff. I'm ready to stop talking about Michigan that much. I'm ready to. Oh, Jay Carr, I did. I'm going to email you back about that. I am going to email you back. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. And then we'll go live Friday, and we'll come up with a good topic then. I wanted to give people an opportunity to vent on Michigan, get it out. And I'm going to try and process it better and deal with it better. But it just pisses me off. Have a good one, everybody.